Did you notice that the school bus license plate hides the exact date the first Toy Story was released? Or that the garbage truck carrying Lotso shows up again? Toy Story 5 is packed with so many references that the Pizza Planet truck appears not once, but twice! So today we're going through 123 secrets, Easter eggs, and details you probably missed the first time. If you count every single bus at the beginning, there are 50 of them. Buzz appears alone by the ocean, stranded on an island and waiting for a signal that can get him out of there. It's a direct reference to Castaway, and the reference goes one layer deeper. Castaway stars Tom Hanks, the original voice of Woody.
Wait a minute, you don't think I meant to knock Buzz out the window, do you, Potato Head?
Even though these are newer versions, all 50 Buzz figures still believe Star Command is real. It's the same programming the 1995 Buzz had when he arrived in Andy's room, convinced he was an actual space ranger. The bright star they mistake for Star Command has the shape and glow of Disney's classic wishing star. When the Buzz figures leave the island, the camera rises toward the sky, and the clouds transition us back into Bonnie's world. It's the same white on blue pattern that has defined Toy Story since 1995. And those clouds aren't only in the sky. The same pattern also appears in Bonnie's drawings and on her clothes. In a shot of Trixie's feet, you can still read Bonnie's name, the same detail that appeared in Toy Story that time forgot. Bonnie's dad wears a Grand Basin shirt, the location of the carnival in Toy Story 4. It also serves as a reference to Woody's return. The Andersons' car carries a TS5 model badge. It looks like a normal car name, but it actually stands for Toy Story 5. The camera moves down to the tree where Emily played with Jessie as a child. 30 years later, after we learned how Jessie was abandoned, she physically returns to the place where the happiest and most painful part of her life began. The tree silhouette, roots, and branches look a lot like the central tree from A Bug's Life. The same tree also recalls the new life growing on Earth in WALL-E. Jessie's pants have the words 1200 Ranch Road stitched onto them. The number points to Pixar's headquarters in Emeryville at 1200 Park Avenue. Kanahari's revealed that there was once a scene where an elderly Emily found Jessie again and introduced her to her grandson. It was removed when the story changed, but it shows that a reunion is possible inside the Toy Story universe. The melody of When She Loved Me from Toy Story 2 returns instrumentally around Jessie. Andrew Stanton and Kanahari's said Jessie was not originally supposed to be the main character, but a story about loneliness, screen, and the fear of becoming obsolete fit her past perfectly. There was also an early version of Toy Story 5 without Woody, written to test whether the franchise could move forward without him. Once that version was finished, they realized it simply didn't work, so the entire story was rewritten. When Woody returns, he wears a poncho that recalls Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name, exactly like a cowboy who has spent years wandering from place to place. The worn patch on Woody's head didn't appear out of nowhere. It's the same area the old man repaired and repainted in Toy Story 2 before Woody was nearly sold to a museum in Tokyo. So yes, Woody has had that bald spot for more than 20 years. During the credits, Bo Peep colors over that same worn patch with a marker so her cowboy doesn't look quite old. The team designed Bonnie and Blaze's fantasy sequences in different styles to show that people don't all see the world the same way, but they can still reach the same emotional wavelength when they connect. After eating the poisoned cake, Rex turns blue with purple spots, exactly like Sully from Monsters Inc. Captain Suds, the tiny boat from Portosaurus Rex, appears again among Bonnie's toys. A repainted robot in the same yard uses the same model of Transitron from Toy Story of Terror. The colors were changed to hide him, but almost the entire body is still the same. The company that delivers Lily Pad to the house is called Ship It, a name that already appeared in Toy Story of Terror. And Ship It isn't only printed on a package, one of its storefronts can be seen in the background later in the movie. LilyPad and several other devices carry the Eggman brand. The name sounds new, until you remember that Eggman has existed since the first Toy Story. In Toy Story, Eggman Movers was the company transporting Andy's belongings. And 3 decades later, the same brand appears to have expanded into technology. Even the background companies had to adapt. Eggman was also the nickname of Ralph Eggleston, the production designer of the first Toy Story and one of Pixar's most important artists. The Japanese poster puts Woody front and center, while the American campaign focuses on Jessie. When Lily Pad arrives, she takes over Bonnie's bed while the toys are left below. It's the same composition as the first Toy Story, with Buzz presented above as the shiny new arrival and Woody displaced onto the floor. When Lily Pad appears, Trixie says she wants one. The joke connects back to Toy Story 3, where she was already obsessed with using Bonnie's computer. Lily Pad and her portal, the pond, were inspired by Leapfrog tablets for children. Even the frog identity comes from them. Pixar didn't invent a random device, it created its own version of technology already found in millions of homes. And Rivet isn't only another frog pun. Its name, posts, and navigation imitate Reddit. Another visible website is called Infopedia, and it recreates the idea of Wikipedia. The black command windows that appear on the devices were taken directly from Apple's Mac OS Terminal app, creating a direct reference to Steve Jobs, without whom Toy Story would never have existed. One of the apps is called Star Adventurer, the same name as the carnival booth where Ducky and Bonnie were prizes in Toy Story 4. While Jessie is navigating, a space image taken from WALL-E appears on the screen. It isn't just a similar galaxy. When you compare the position of the stars, the frame matches exactly. Further down, you can also see the ocean, where Marlin first meets Dory in Finding Nemo. Lily Pad calls Woody Stuffalo Bill.
Join the garage, Stuffalo Bill!
Confusing the cowboy with a real figure from the Old West. Jessie shouts, "Jump in, Jehoshaphat!" an expression associated with the Looney Tunes.
Jump on Jehoshaphat, the kid has hit the jackpot.
One of the apps is called Pigeon Pizza. Its icon shows Saviero Piccionini, one of the pigeons from Gatto, Pixar's next movie set in Venice. The effects supervisor confirmed that there's a second Gatto reference hidden somewhere in Blaze's room, but never revealed what it is. If you manage to find it, leave it in the comments. Outside Blaze's room playhouse, you can see Red, the unicycle from Pixar's 1987 short Red Stream. Blaze's board includes a Wilderness Explorers poster, the organization Russell belongs to in Up. Chelsea's avatar is a beaver that looks a lot like the ones from Hoppers. Kara's avatar is a small round blue bird that recalls the flock from the Pixar short For the Birds. And the other avatar is a ladybug that looks like Francis from A Bug's Life. When Lilypad searches for Jessie on an auction site called eBid, it's a parody of eBay. And the worst part is that it says Jessie is worth $0. The photo in that listing wasn't created for Toy Story 5. It's the same image of Jessie that already appeared in Toy Story of Terror. Lilypad uncovers an old black and white recording of Woody's roundup from Toy Story 2. One of the apps is called Chicken Farm. Its icon combines a chicken and a barn, which not only resembles a smartphone game, but also recalls Al's Toy Barn and Al himself, the Chicken Man from Toy Story 2. Snappy's images include photographs taken at Disneyland. That creates a bizarre connection. A park where Toy Story exists as a movie appears inside the universe where its characters are real toys. Lilypad also sent Snappy a photograph of the Dinoco gas station, the classic location that has appeared across Pixar movies and is best known from Cars. Mr. Pricklepants appears dressed as a priest, because he already played one in Toy Story of Terror. Combat Carl returns after becoming one of the standout characters in Toy Story of Terror, but his original design completely looked different, because of licensing issues. Among the abandoned toys is a recolored version of Dog, the zebra-shaped ragdoll that decorated Second Chance Antiques in Toy Story 4. Right beside Dog, you can also see the pink mechanical rabbit from the same antique store. After Carl Weathers died, Ernie Hudson took over the voice of Combat Carl. The strange part is that Hudson said he didn't even know he was inheriting Weathers' character when he accepted the role. He only found out much later.
When I got the job, I didn't realize that I was stepping in for Carl Weathers.
The pizza wearing glasses is voiced by Bad Bunny in both English and Spanish.
Telling us all her secrets. Contándonos todos sus secretos. Rico.
In the earliest plans for the first Toy Story, the restaurant was going to be called Pizza Pot instead of Pizza Planet. Pizza Pot was an obvious reference to Pizza Hut. The claw machines were also gonna contain rubber pizza prices wearing glasses, so Toy Story brought back a pizza character that had been discarded from the original 1995 concepts. Smarty Pants is a device designed to teach children how to use the toilet, but its entire body is shaped like a hanging roll of toilet paper. Its yellow handle even forms the hairstyle of Conan O'Brien, the character's original voice actor. During one of the fantasy sequences, Bullseye misspells Sandy's name on his hoofs again, just like he did at the end of Toy Story 2. Toy Story 5 let us hear the recorded phrases inside Jessie's pull string for the first time. Jessie has been part of the franchise since 1999, but we had never heard what her voice mechanism actually said. The batteries used to revive the old devices are power cell batteries, the same brand used in the communication equipment from the first Toy Story, when the toys were trying to figure out what new toys had arrived. The toy's plastic hands can't properly activate Lily Pad's touchscreen, so they end up controlling it with Sammy's sticky foot. And this isn't the first Sammy. The lizard is called Sammy number 2, which means Bonnie already had another one somewhere between Toy Story 4 and Toy Story 5. Also, the credits already show Sammy number 3, implying that after Sammy number 2 escaped from Woody and Buzz, Bonnie couldn't find him and got a third one. Atlas was created to tell children how to reach any destination, but he spent years trapped inside a drawer. The toy that knew every route in the world couldn't find a way out for himself. Whenever Atlas displays a location, his avatar uses the yellow ball with the red star from Luxo Jr. Before Toy Story 5 even reached theaters, Atlas had already appeared in Hoppers, specifically in Mabel's room. Smarty Pant, Atlas, and Snappy were designed as products from different decades. Their screens, movement, speed, and materials all change so you can feel the evolution of technology without anyone having to tell you what year each one came from. The graphics on the devices weren't pasted on as flat images. The team animated them separately and created a workflow similar to drawing with a virtual pen, giving every device its own way of moving. Kanahara confirmed that a Tamagotchi was part of an earlier version of the story. Pixar didn't remove it because the character was bad. It disappeared because the studio couldn't complete the licensing agreement with Bandai in time. The art team had to build Blaze's house as if it had existed since Emily's childhood. The worn paint, furniture, and surfaces aren't random dirt. Blaze's long, curly hair was so complicated that Pixar developed new advanced tools to animate it. That's why it looks different from any other hair the studio has created. To make Daffodil move with correct weight and muscle structure, Pixar built an entirely new digital skeleton. They couldn't simply reuse Bullseye's body, because it'll have looked like an enormous toy horse instead of a real one. Blaze's laptop carries a bee that references the adventures of Andre and Wally B, created before Pixar was even Pixar. The team experimented with artificial intelligence tools during production, but concluded that they still couldn't reach the quality required for the final scenes. They were only used to speed up artists' work, not replace the animation. Woody's return is introduced from behind and from a very low angle, beginning with his boots. The shot recalls Andy's Final Fantasy sequence in Toy Story 3. When Buzz sees Woody again, his laser lands directly on him, just like it did during their first meeting in 1995. Woody distracts Buzz by pointing at something behind him again. It's the same trick he used in the first movie, except this time he's not evil enough to throw Buzz out the window. When Woody and Buzz start arguing again, Mr. Potato Head says it's good to see them fighting. That's because that's how their friendship began in the first movie. Ham calls dibs on hiding behind Bonnie's dresser and says it should buy him a few years. It's the same kind of joke he made in Toy Story 3 when he immediately claimed Barbie's Corvette for himself.
I get the Corvette.
Woody and Buzz run toward the back of the Andersons' car, repeating the race where they tried to catch Andy's moving truck in the first Toy Story. The high-tech Buzz army identifies Woody as an agent of Zork. It's a callback to Toy Story 2, where Buzz also interpreted everything as part of his imaginary space war. The browser used by the Buzz army at the camp copies Google Chrome, right down to the tabs, address bar, and buttons. To convince the other versions of himself, Buzz says, "Search your feelings, you know it to be true." It's the exact line Darth Vader uses when he reveals to Luke that he's his father.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
And the joke doesn't stop there. Buzz tells all of them that Zork is their father, and all 50 react in horror, repeating the most famous family trauma in Star Wars. As the Buzz figures move throughout the forest, a deer, rabbits, and a soft choir appear, creating a clear reference to Bambi. The squirrel in the forest reuses the model from Dog Days. The small blue birds were reused from Turning Red. And the deer was also reused, this time from Hoppers. During the same moment, you can also hear a variation of Love is a Song, the opening theme from Bambi. When the humans arrive, the music shifts into a piece inspired by the sound that announced the hunters in Bambi. 3 of the boss figures rise slowly out of the water with only his eyes visible, recreating Captain Willard's famous entrance in Apocalypse Now. Among the books you can see The Velveteen Rabbit, the story of a toy that wants to become real through the love of a child. The evil version of Bullseye actually has a voice, something the original horse never received in the franchise. The filmmakers did it because they wanted to break one of Toy Story's most iconic rules. Lilypad ends up inside a Tri-Country donation truck, the same organization connected to Jessie's donation. During the chase, orange traffic cones appears that look almost identical to the ones the toys used to cross the street in Toy Story 2. It makes you wonder which toys could be hiding underneath them this time. The Dinoco gas station appears in the background again. The yellow Pizza Planet truck drives directly in front of Jessie, Bullseye, and the Boss Army, forcing them to stop. Later, a second Pizza Planet truck can be seen parked between a Dinoco gas station and a Pizza Planet restaurant. The rescue sequence brings together Jessie, Woody, Bullseye, vehicles, horses, and all of 50 boss figures. The team coordinated more than 100 individual characters and described it as one of the most difficult sequences in the entire production. The crane's control panel breaks the Luxo Bowl into different images. The boss figures have a QR code on their backs, but it wasn't made for the audience to scan inside the theater. Lilypad reads it within the story and uses it to unlock the drone mode across the entire army. When the boss figures finally take off, one of them says that this is really flying, and Woody finishes the line with style. Back in 1995, they were falling with style. Now they're actually flying.
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
Shortly before Jessie and Buzz kiss, the garbage truck from Toy Story 3 drives past, the same one where Lotso ended up trapped. When Blaze gives the toys away, her nails are painted in several different colors. Some fans believe each color represents a different Taylor Swift era, and Taylor performs the movie's closing song. The tree carries the message Jessie was here along with a buried metal box. Emily had preserved pieces of her childhood in that same place, where she once played with a doll that she later abandoned. Inside the time capsule, a photograph reveals that Emily named her daughter Jessie, and the bag doesn't only contain A113. The full code reads TSA113, combining the Toy Story's initial with Pixar's most famous number. The capsule contains a pin with a jello sphere that resembles a core memory from Inside Out. Jessie wears it during the final chase, physically carrying a memory of Emily with her. After watching a cut of Toy Story 5, Taylor Swift wrote I Knew It, I Knew You and was recording the vocals that same afternoon, so the credit song was completed in only 8 hours. The drawings in the credits bring RC back after he had almost disappeared from the franchise since Toy Story 4. The toys also finished performing the song Lilypad created by turning Jessie's words into a rap. The school bus license plate reads TS112295, TS for Toy Story, and 11/22/95 for November 22, 1995, the date the first movie was released. In the credit scene, all of 50 boss figures land in a schoolyard and each one finds a child. Even the teacher gets one. Then Sarg appears inside a backpack, voiced by director Andrew Stanton, and once again greets Buzz as his son. The movie ends exactly where their crisis began, 50 lost toys finally finding someone to belong to. Bonnie's dad also wears a shirt that reads Cygnus X1. One of Lilypad's games is called Prance Prance Revolution, a parody of Dance Dance Revolution. And when Woody returns to Bonnie's room, his walk repeats the same walk he performed in Toy Story 2. And those were the 123 details we found in Toy Story 5. Did you catch any others? Let us know in the comments.